Oh, yeah, the fact that we're gamma first. Which now, I will soapbox for a second and say, now that we're gamma first, using Greek letters doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't help. So we should probably just change and use a whole new system. So for anyone playing along at home, it is 11, 12, 21. We're doing 512 today, but we're checking the answers to 511. Max, take a moment. I know the schedule goofed you up. Take a moment. But if your homework is done, go ahead and glance at the answers and check them real quick.
What are we doing about the front if we didn't finish?
If we didn't finish it in class, that's fine. It means we just didn't finish it in class. Now, if you did practice those and you want to go over those answers, I have that key right here if you want to ask me. But the fact that you did your homework and got those answers correct should give you that confidence. Homework is due by the end of the day. If you do not have it done, come to math lunch. I'll open up the wall. We can have a bunch of people in here. Everybody essentially sits at their own desk cluster so that we're 6 feet apart from each other. I brought some good leftovers, so I'm probably even going to eat during math lunch. Guys, there is a retired teacher who's he could have a book of sayings. He was my mentor teacher. His name was Mr. Dove. And he would always ask kids, do you need help or time? And I'm trying to remember to ask that question because a lot of you just need time, right? I had a dentist appointment yesterday, and then mom and dad took me out for ice cream, and we didn't get home till late, and then our show is on Thursdays, and we always watch our show. Whatever happens, it's fine. I get it. You guys are busy. Come to math lunch if you just need extra time. Yeah.
That was weirdly accurate. I'm not even joking. After my dentist appointment, I went to get ice cream.
Well, that's
to celebrate my braces going, and then we watched Cowboy Bebop.
I mean, it's not that I used math.
That was weirdly specific, and that was terrifying.
I wonder what probability that was.
So a lot of times when kids go to a doctor, they then get taken out for either food or ice cream afterwards. And Thursday night is a popular night for TV shows that families watch. Math was on my side in making those predictions. I am not a creeper that follows you around outside of school. Reminder: Monday is when we will first announce the winning class for our first in math competition, whatever. If I get bored over the weekend, which I highly doubt because I need to fix my broken car, I'm thinking about making a little trophy stand for above the smartboard just so that the class that has the trophy currently can flex it. If you were not here yesterday, the reminder for how that works is based on percentage of people that have turned in their homework on time, that could have turned it in on time, right, that were here yesterday and are here today. Here yesterday and here today. That number who turns it in divided by the total, percent, compare, highest, win. Yay. Brandon.
When is 512?
Monday. Because that's going to be the next, boom, boom, let's get another winner. But then we'll do packets, right? Then we'll do another 2 homeworks at a time, 2 homeworks at a time. Probably.
Are we going to announce the winner every day?
Nah, that'd be too much work for me. If I'm being honest.
That's true.
Max?
Are we done with checking 511?
We can, if you have any questions. Nobody had asked any questions yet.
I just need to
See all of D.
Yeah.
Negative 3x plus 5. Any other questions?
You know what you should do for the trophy? On the top, you should have that whiteboard, the sticky stuff from the whiteboard, and then you write.
Ooh, that's an
Then you should
idea.
make it sponsored by NAPCO.
A little disclaimer
At the bottom.
in fine print.
Yeah, you'd be sponsored by NAPCO.
All right, any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Today's math lesson is making math easier. So grab a sheet of graph paper if you didn't.
It's just want to be graph paper.
You know, right? What the heck? Just like the circus. You know what kind of doctor Dr. Pepper is?
What?
Nobody?
A nose doctor.
He's a physician.
I hate you. That's so
So, in a a problem like this. You don't have to write this down. Hey, explaining the joke makes it really funny. Please quit helicoptering. We're ready to do math. So your header for today should be 512. You can write down the boring solving equations with fractions, or you can write down making math easier. Whatever header you want on your paper. When we saw a proportion problem like what I just put a box around, we developed an easier way of solving them. Can anyone remind me what we would do in a situation like this, like because it was on your homework last night, to more easily solve a proportion like this? Max?
What I did is I did like 3 divided by 5, and then I think I would do that times the 8. And
Ooh, why times 8?
I can't remember because I can't remember what exactly I did, but I know I did 3 divided by 5, and then something with the 8. And
The times 8 is the part that I really want to dig into. So we're going to pop over Anna. Yeah, multiples. Factors are the smaller numbers. Multiples are the bigger ones.
So multiples of that match for each one. So 5 goes into 40 evenly, and 8 goes into 40 evenly.
So that's another technique. You're right. If we find a common denominator for the whole thing, then what would we do with that common denominator?
You would first have to multiply whatever you do to the bottom with the top.
Yeah, we multiply it. And sorry, for sake of time. And then the last, well, not last, but another technique up on that purple poster, or maybe pink, I don't know what colors are anymore. You could cross multiply. Right? All of these techniques are the same thing. Slightly different route, but you're all pretty much doing the same thing. So now, let's shift that idea to decimals. So go ahead and write this on your paper. 400ths x, so 0.04 x, plus a 1 equals 2.2. So Hannah looks at Michael and says, hey, I think I need my calculator. Will you hand that to me? And Michael, in a dramatic anti-calculator moment, throws her calculator across the room.
Do you know how expensive those things are? Oh my god.
So Michael no longer has a calculator.
I looked away for 1 second and something cool happened.
Michael no longer has a calculator to be able to solve this problem. But, hey, put that away. Unless you want me to throw it across the room. But Hannah exclaims, wait! We can solve this without a calculator because we know how to make math easier. I actually can do a first step and completely get rid of these decimals, which is not a true statement because there's always a decimal somewhere, but we wouldn't have to write them anymore. Talk with your team, or there are 3 of you that have decided to become islands, 4 of you.
Lily's in here.
What? You could sit somewhere else.
No. This is my spot.
How could we turn this whole problem into whole numbers, no decimals, no fractions, and then solve it?
This is something that I just want to say. Saying easier is not a bad word, but it's not spelled E-S-Y, it's E-S-I. Which, while being subtle, makes all the difference.
It is similar, but it is not the same.
It is similar, but it's not the same. So easier, easiest, all that is all.
Guys, I am not looking forward to this evening because I have to work on the rear differential of my car, but that is easier than if I had to take apart the transmission. Right? Easier does not mean easy. Easier, I don't want to work on my car, but I have to because otherwise I'm going to have to pay somebody else to do it. Easier is relative. Walter, what could we do to this whole thing? If you don't know, it's totally fine to pass. Connor? Ah! Why? You're right, but why? If we multiply by 100, and remember, like we talked about yesterday, every piece, and the trapdoors will forget one piece a lot of times. if we multiply every piece by 100, what that really does is move your decimal 2 places. So this becomes 4x plus 100 equals 220. And now since that's all whole numbers, it's easier than it was before. What do we do now, everybody? Anybody? Now hold up. Somebody said divide by 4. We could. Hold on. We could. But just remember, if you choose to divide by 4 here, everything has to divide by 4. Which actually here, like that's, sure, you could.
I think it'd be easier if we just divided everything by 4 and then
Sure.
divided 25.
And this is where you have to choose, which, being honest, like Scout's Honor, that's kind of when math sucks. Because I'm kind of an anxious person when it comes to, like, making choices. And, like, math has all these options. And, like, you just have to choose what's good for you. So, dividing by 4 is not the right way. It's a way you can take. Subtracting by 100 is not the right way. It's a way you could take.
They're both right. Now, Mr. Hudson, I found something. Math starts with stuff. There's sections you learn
Hold on. Too much happening. What's 220 divided by 4? 55. Okay. If we take, hold on, like there was just too much. I gotta finish this before I can really hear anything else. Subtract 25. What did you guys get for x?
3.
Whoa, overwhelming. Any questions, Max?
Well, this is like a question, but this is what I did. So, like, with the 4x plus 100 equals 220, I subtracted 100, and then I got 4x equals 120. Then I divided that by 4, and then I got x equals 30. That's why I did it.
Wow, why didn't you switch to red? Ooh, it's Christmas. Hanukkah starts before Christmas, though. Make sure you tell your Jewish friends Happy Hanukkah.
I'm Jewish.
Hanukkah starts, what, in 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? I know it starts on Sunday here soon. I think it's 2 weeks from now. Try these with your team. You can race if you want to, but it's not a race. You can race if you want to, but it's not a race. I'll look it up, Brenda. Now I'm curious. I have it in my calendar.
We celebrate it about half the time.
28th.
Because my dad has a weird work schedule.
Hanukkah begins on November 28th at sundown, like sunset.
Yeah.
So after
The
Thanksgiving.
9 candles.
And then it ends December 6th.
Yeah. Because there's 9 days. 9 days of Hanukkah because
Is that cultural, like, holidays club happening, Anna? Did your guys' club get off the ground to, like, the holiday club?
Yeah, we're starting with Thanksgiving.
Okay.
okay. But also
No,
there's specifically 9 days of Hanukkah because each night before you go to bed you light a candle on a
Menorah.
menorah. You light a candle and usually they're blue, which is weird. But usually they're blue. And you just let them burn all night. Yeah, basically. You let them burn all night.
That would not be good.
When I was burned down,
No, because it's on
The menorah's a metal stand.
yeah, it's a metal stand, so the candle wax just burns down it.
oh, okay.
So once the wick's done, then there's nothing else.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on it. We always keep it on our counter.
Let's random card.
Sounds like a game
Oh,
show.
God, we're talking about Hanukkah. I can't
Sounds like a game show. Like
Good thing your card's not up. Amelia, what could we multiply? Excuse me, or what could we do here to make this easier? I'm gonna ignore the fact that you have a calculator in your hand because it's not really necessary. We don't need them if we make it easier. What if I want you to try it without?
We can multiply it by 100.
Ooh, you don't have to go to 100 though. You could just do 10 to keep the numbers more manageable.
You get 21x and then
Boom, boom.
6 and then
174.
yeah.
So then, what could we do after that, Anna? Oh, that's fine. You guys are sitting next to each other. I should shuffle these cards. So dividing by 21 right now is a bit tricky. I wouldn't do it. I would subtract 6 first. Yeah, you were just ahead of me. So you could, though. That's the thing. You're allowed. But guys, 6 divided by 21 looks gross and scary, and I don't want to do it. But if I subtract 6 here, I get 168. Is 168 divisible by 21?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, because mathematicians are fun. And we build these problems backwards. By the way, if you're like me and like a little bit slower than the average bear and are like, wait, how does this work out so nicely? Guys, we just start with the answer and build the problem from there. It's not like we're starting with a problem and then we get lucky. When mathematicians make this stuff, right, we start at the end and then we build the problem from there.
Now we know CPMC.
You should do that. Build your own problem.
You guys sound like you guys sound like excited about math. What is this?
That would be a lot of fun.
Okay, the probability of this having just happened is freaking me out a little bit. Maddie, you're the next card. Like, this is just weirding me out a little bit.
I don't want to be over here.
Maddie, should I multiply this equation by something? But we could make this easier before we start. You can pass. Ooh, not 100. If we divide by 10, we bump here, we bump here, we bump here. So if we're trying to keep away from partial numbers, right? If we're trying to keep away from partial numbers, like no decimals, if we divide everything by 10, then we get 10x equals, sorry, not equals. Remember, there's a ton of right ways to get to Florida.
Oh, it's negative 40. You wrote 40.
Is it negative?
Yes.
Ah.
There is a best way. Fastest way. Yeah, there is a fastest way.
Helicopter.
Oh yeah. Or jet plane.
What do I get on the right side? Yeah, negative 65. Be careful. Some of us are still making mistakes with positives and negatives, so always double check yourself. And then x is going to equal? Negative 6.5. Have you had time to do C and D yet? Probably not.
I have.
All right, do C and D.
Oh, there's C.
Isn't it fun when it like flows and you're like, ah, do this, do that, do that?
Like a dancing song.
Do you have a question? I don't want to speculate. I want to solve it. Brenda, what's the right side being divided by?
Why is C so
No, the right side.
Oh, the right side? Oh my god.
1, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys, when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, can't we just cross multiply?
Yes. You could. But
Oh my god.
Or you could ask yourself, what's been done to the variable and it's being divided by 3. So what do we want to do? Multiply by 3. So we multiply by 3, multiply by 3, 2x equals 90. And then, what do we do to get there though? Divide by 2. X is 45.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You just showed me that first step and I got it. I was like, oh.
I think probably.
You're a smart one, aren't you, Mr. Rose?
I mean, I think the Grinch was a deeply confused individual. He just needed someone who understood him.
You just needed someone to love.
Don't we all?
That was a good. That was good.
Now the question is, original Grinch or live action Grinch? And I kind of like Jim Carrey, so like, or yeah, is it? No, who? Yeah, it's Jim Carrey.
There's three movies. The first one, the original, the live action, and there's also an animated one.
Oh, there's a new. I forgot they did the new animated.
Mr. Hudson, I just want you to know, how we will treat you ends on this decision right here.
Then I
The
refuse to
live
answer.
action or the original or the animated.
I have to go back and rewatch. Okay, honestly, if I'm gonna give a hot, contentious answer, I gotta rewatch the movies first.
Okay.
Like, I just so ask me in January, right? Ask me in. No.
Yeah, no,
Moving
let's
on.
do that. Yeah,
We can just watch it on Grinch. And then we can figure out how many people, what the percentage of people.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Math stuff.
So, by the way,
Whoville.
just to put it out there, you guys are sweet, and it's November, right, at Phoenix. Do you guys now kind of have a bit more understanding of like what we would say in August about like you just got to get used to Phoenix, like wait till we get into the swing of things. We can take a moment in the middle of math class and talk about which Grinch is the best as long as we get back on math, right? Which is what I think I like, and I can trust you guys pretty far at this point, like to go pretty far out and come back in. So like, don't mess that up, right? Like, keep this awesomeness up of like, we can steer over here for a minute and then come back. Like, okay, but now we got to do some math, and we're not watching the Grinch during math class because that's how you lose your job. So, what could we do to this entire thing, Gust? What could we do to this entire thing to make it easier? And actually, this one's really up to you, like up to what your brain thinks. We can't cross multiply yet. We could times 5. And guys, I'm going to show like a couple different routes here. If we times 5, let's do the times 5 route, we get x plus 5 equals negative 30. Who didn't do that? Who went a different route? Connor, what'd you do?
Kept adding 5 to the 5 until I got something that worked.
I'll come back to that. I'm confused by what you said. I'm not sure. Rel? If we subtract 1 from both sides, we get x over 5 equals negative 7. Okay, let's pop back over here. Now, what do I need to do over here? Just shout it out. Minus 5, right, to get rid of it? Now red doesn't really serve its purpose to change color. I'm going to switch to black. X equals negative 35. Pop back over here. What do we need to do? Multiply by 5. Oh, wait. Hey, look, we both got to Florida.
Where are we going?
So, guys, it does not matter as long as you follow those math rules. Like, do it to both sides, apply it to everything. Max?
Okay, so like what I did is I figured out what divided by 5 equals negative 7, which is negative 35.
You just decided to flex your math skills. You were like, I don't even need to do this. I just...
Basically what I did. And then you know, x divided by 5 equals negative 7, so x equals negative 35.
So you're just like, oh, I'm just too good for this. I just don't do any of that.
I don't need to
Fine,
make
Max.
my brain-
Whatever.
I don't need
You're
to
too
make
good
it
for my
easier.
process. I don't know if you can solve this one just in your head, though. What number divided by 3 plus the same number divided by 5 equals 15? 16. Which one? Whoa. That's what's awesome about my graph paper. That's why I only use one side of graph paper. The 5-star reinforced graph paper gives you 2 options.
I got
How
it.
big you want
I
it,
got
right?
it. I did it in my head.
Ship-a-da-ba-ba.
You said you probably can't do this one in your head.
If we wanted to follow a process here that actually gets nicknamed
Fraction busties.
Fraction Bustas. Now, it's really Fraction Buster, but, you know, might as well say Bustas. I want to bust both the fraction that is division by 3 and the fraction that is division by 5. Do you need to sharpen your pen? What just happened? Do it. That's just, now you're taking a longer moment by being so awkward.
I need to sharpen my pencil.
I like that you just said, can I have a moment? I want to bust out 3 and 5 at the same time. So I want to undo division by 3 and undo division by 5 at the same time. How do I do that? Anyone? Times 15. So I multiply by 3 and 5 at the same time. So I multiply by 3 and multiply by 5, which is really multiply by 15. So we want to make sure that we show it on both sides. Max? Hold on. So those of you saying yes, we can do it in our heads, and probably what Max is about to say, just get on the bus with me for the time being. I know you're like, I could walk there myself. I'm like, get on the bus. Just like we're going to the bowling alley, whatever. Trust me, we will encounter problems that are too difficult to solve in your head, and you will need this strategy. So please throw me a bone and just follow this for now. Right? Like, I know you might not need to. Most of you probably don't need to because you're better than I am at math. But just follow. Sure.
Okay, so like what I did, I figured out like what divided by 3 and what divided by 5 equals 8. So 24 divided by 3 equals 8, and then 40 divided by 5 equals 8. And so, what I got 24 divided by 3 plus 40 divided by 5 equals
You're
8.
not allowed to do that.
I'm not?
X has to be the same. Has to be the same number.
Crap.
Ah, crap. Oh, crap.
I forgot about that.
So, if you just come along with me for the current time and follow this process I'm pretty much begging you to follow me on, if we multiply both sides by 15, really what happens is this, but guys, I promise I will let you skip that step after we're good at this.
Wouldn't the 3 and the 5 denominators go away?
They're going to.
Not yet?
Can you please trust me, Brenda? Have I ever done anything up to this point in the year to break your trust?
Yeah.
That hurts.
You haven't.
But they were all like joking, oh, if it's going to be funny, we're going to say yes. Hurts my feelings.
I have a constant pay rate.
It might be swimmers. Do you swim? Do you swim? I don't know what you guys do outside of school. If you swim, it could be swimmers ear, so just pay attention to it if you have any. Because you said you have a constant ear. This! What? Oh, hey, I thought you said ear ache. I hate these maths. 15 divided by 5 becomes 3x, and now Brenda's finally happy that everything canceled out on the denominators. That is just me showing out all of my work. Now, I do get it, and I have to agree with you. 16 times 15 is kind of difficult. But, guys, 15 times 15 is something we might as well like try to just go ahead and memorize. What's 15 times 15? 225. So, guys, 15 times 15 is 225. So then just give yourself another 15. It's 240. As opposed to the time when you got to go to the dentist, which is 230.
Oh my god. Hey, wait. How did you get from the 15 to the 5 max? Like, what did you do? Or did it just...
They reduced. So thank you for asking. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now here's the other really cool thing, though. Put your pencils down and look up here for a second.
I feel like I missed a really cool thing though.
Probably. Don't worry, it's recorded. Here, what Brenda was trying to argue with me about, not really argue, that would be Akshaya. my 8th grader that always wanted to argue, is multiplying by 5 and dividing by 5. They're reciprocal operations. They cancel each other out. So all that really happens here is it becomes 3x. And over here, division by 3, multiplication by 3 will cancel each other out. And really all this does is become 5x. But, no. 15 divided by 3. I probably said something backwards. But, until you're really good at this, I would advise to write out the middle step. The middle step where you say, okay, times 15, that's 3 times 5, times 15 gets 15x, and the denominator stays, so 15x over 3. Times 15, so 15x over 5, and then do the math. Now, we can say 8x is 240. Guys, forget about the 0 for a second. What's 24 divided by 8? 3, so x is 30. Questions? Questions? Try any of these.
What was that?
We should probably start with A. If you just really want to flex your skills, you can jump on down to D, but
I already know it. I already did A too. I did too.
remember, it has to be the same number for both A's, or both Y's, or both X's. Guys, always write down the original. So I should see everybody's pencils going writing down the original of A.
Wait, interesting.
I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes because we got time. I want us to practice these and make mistakes in here so we can catch our mistakes in here. So please, for each of these, write down the original, figure out that common denominator that can bust out the entire thing, multiply by that common denominator, show that middle step, reduce, and solve. So I'll do A for those of us that might still need some help. But then I want you guys to take some time. I flipped my 5-minute timer, and I'm gonna try to respect that. What? Dude, when I looked at your card, I was like, I bet he skipped A. That's like literally what I thought in my head.
I did A. I did good.
I was also trying to be quiet and just like whispered in Evan because he was right there. Okay, what could we multiply by? 21, which was like a million for a minute.
That game is dead, everyone.
What game is that?
That's 21. That game is dead.
No, I know, but it also has a lot of five.
Unless you solved D already, unless you've solved D already, we should not be talking.
I like how you used the variable A.
I actually don't like the variable A because it just kind of looks similar to numbers. I don't like any variable that looks like numbers because my handwriting's not neat enough. Like I've just learned that about myself.
What does A look like?
An O. I mean, depends how you write it. Yeah, that too. If your tail is too long, it looks like 9. So in A, we should have gotten A is 21. Now, some of you in A might be developing a thought of like, wait a minute. What really happened here is this one turned into 7A and this one turned into 3A. And you might be starting to think about like, well, it's sort of like cross multiplication. Don't let your brain think that. Because as soon as we have a denominator on the right-hand side, that changes how things work. Because in B, what is the common denominator that we could use? 10. So in B, that common denominator we're going to use is 10. Because we got 5, 2, and 10 to bust at the same time. Now I'm going to stop talking again to make sure you have time. This is what I mean about write the in-between step. It's almost like you proved my point. Almost like I've done this before and I know what mistakes you guys will make.
Oh my god, I can't believe you're not an idiot. I like,
Some days I can't either. Most days my wife.
No, hey.
What?
Positivity.
My wife and I have this thing when we've had a bad day and we can tell. We'll like cut the other one off and say, hey, 3 good things. And like before you can vent all the bad crap, you have to say 3 good things about your day. Which is like a pretty good strategy to like, dang it, I gotta be positive before I can be negative. Right?
That's like whenever somebody is acting
A fool.
is like, man, I can't believe like whenever I say something, yeah, you're right, I can't believe I am such an idiot, stupid, and I'm like, no, positive.
Did we get here? 6y plus 15 equals 7y? Oh, check your work. Find your mistakes. This is the safe space to mess up. This is the safe space to mess up. You're not an idiot. You're new at this. I hate when kids call themselves idiots. You're just new at... I don't know. I just don't like the word. What should I do now? Max? Minus the 6y. Hey, look, that one finishes the problem for us.
Isn't that convenient?
Look how convenient. It's almost like somebody started at y equals 15 and they went from there. In C, what's our common denominator? 6, right? Because 2 and 3 both can become 6. So if you haven't done D, do, or C, do C. If you haven't done D, what would our common denominator? Ooh, 3, 4, and 5. 60. Dang, that's big. Dang, that's big. There's nothing smaller than 60. For 3, 4, and 5, you guys are, I think you're right, that 3, 4, and 5, the first common multiple for all of them is 60. Yeah, that's going to be a pain in the butt. We got 4 minutes. Do you think we can do both of these in that time?
Sure. No, just do D.
Nah, you said duty. Alright, let's duty because it's funny to say.
So immature.
I teach middle school.
Brenda, that's the point. We need to enjoy our immaturity while we still have it.
Yeah, soon the real world will suck all the life out of you.
No, it's the real world.
Wait, Mr. London, how does it suck all the life out of you? Because you made the associated property.
No, but I don't live in the real world. I got to stay in middle school forever.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice.
But on the other hand, you got to stay in middle
Wait, so what is the real
Don't ask me. It's like cubicles and like people in ties and like people that care about what kind of car they drive. I don't know. Don't ask me. Yeah, it's probably Mathco. It's like a bunch of cubicles and just people doing.
The company I'm going to invest in my distant future.
Like, guys, my job is I get to talk with young people all day and help them like learn new things. It's a pretty cool job.
But on the other hand, you have to talk with young people.
And help them learn new things. I have to sell a product that people don't really want.
That's what it is.
Here's where you're going to screw up on this problem, and I really hope you prove me wrong. But if you're going to screw up, here's where you're going to screw up. This division has to apply to both.
I already knew where
So-
I didn't multiply the 60 by the numbers.
Yeah, the 60b divides by 3, but also 180 divides by 3. So this becomes 20b plus 60 minus 15b equals 12b minus
120.
divided by 5.
I just had to do the rhyme in 60. It's 6.
I don't know if you have a question or an answer. Oh, I'm sure there's a different way, but we don't have time. We're going to come back to this on Monday. Sorry, just hang on to it. Is it going to kill you to, like, not say it? Well, okay, go ahead. I can't not let you say it. Like, do you want me to, like, get rid of everything I did?
So, yeah, if 60 is a common denominator, what terms for each thing? What I did is...
You're stealing what I'm going to teach on Monday, just to put it out there.
Oh.
It's okay, but you're stealing my thunder.
Well, if you want to
No, it's... Do it. You're fine. You got, like, 1 minute. Do it. Hey, listen.
So 60 is common denominator. What times do you have to do everything? For 5, it was 12, 4, 15, 3, 20. Right? So all you have to do is just take that number and just multiply it up there, and you just get these.
Hey,
You just skip dividing everything.
what Nevin is saying is you can get around that middle step. You just got to turn your brain on. Right? So Nevin's saying to get that common denominator 60, but 60 divided by 3 is really 20. So really what we need to do for this first piece is just multiply these by 20. Which then leaves, when we go to the next part, 60 divided by 4. What is 60 divided by 4? 15. And we really multiply by 15. Yes, we are going to do this on Monday. This is really 12. So really, we multiply by 12. Look at that. Have a great day, guys. See ya. I don't know where you go. I wish I could tell you. But didn't they say something about something?
This is the